Once upon a time in the North Pole lived Santa Claus. He lived in a castle with Mrs. Claus and the elves. His reindeer all lived with Santa in the North Pole. One night, a special reindeer named Rudolph was born. Rudolph was special because he had a glowing red nose. Rudolph was not too sure about his nose. It didn't look like all the other reindeers' noses. He heard the other reindeer making fun of his nose. This made Rudolph very sad. Rudolph had no idea that someday his nose would make him very proud. Rudolph left his village and met some great friends along the way. One of his friends was an elf that was always made fun of by the other elves. The elf, named Hermie, just wanted to be a dentist. But all the other elves were toy makers, and they always laughed at Hermie for wanting to be a dentist. Hermie and Rudolph had a lot in common and decided they would head out into the woods to get away from all the people who made fun of them. Soon enough, they saw the scary, abominable snowman. They managed to run away. They met a great adventurer named Yukon Cornelius, and he helped them to fight off the abominable snowman. They all became very friendly on their journey. They visited the land of misfit toys. The toys asked them for help someday when they got back to Santa. The toys just wanted Santa to help them get to the children. The toys would feel loved once they were in the children's hands. Rudolph, Hermie, and Yukon promised they would help the misfit toys if they could someday. Then it hit, the biggest snowstorm the North Pole had ever seen. It was Christmas Eve and Santa was very close to calling off Christmas because he could not get through the terrible storm to deliver the gifts to the children. Meanwhile, Rudolph, Hermie, Yukon Cornelius, and the abominable snowman were heading back to Santa's castle to get back home from the terrible storm. A whole year had passed since they had left, and they must return home. When they all arrived at Santa's castle, everyone was so happy to see that Rudolph and Hermie were okay. They were all very sorry for being so mean to them and making fun of them. They also enjoyed meeting their brand new friends, Yukon Cornelius and the abominable snowman. Santa all of a sudden realized that Rudolph's bright glowing red nose could help guide his sleigh through the storm, and they did not have to cancel Christmas. Santa asked Rudolph, "Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight?" Rudolph was overjoyed. Santa put Rudolph in the lead spot, and off they went to deliver all the gifts and toys the elves had made. Rudolph asked Santa to stop and pick up all the misfit toys, and Santa said, "Lead the way, Rudolph." They delivered all the toys to the children around the world. And it was heard as they drove out of sight. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. The end. Once upon a time, there was a mother pig who told her 3 little pigs it was time for them to build their own home and move out. She told them to build their homes to be safe from the big bad wolf. The first little pig bought some straw and built his house. Soon enough, a wolf came along and knocked on his door. The wolf asked, little piggy, let me come in." "Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin," answered the little pig. "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down." And the wolf blew down the little piggy's straw house. The second little pig built a house made of sticks. Along came the wolf, who said, little piggy, let me come in." "Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin," said the little pig. "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down," said the wolf. The wolf blew down the stick house. The third little piggy made a house of bricks. He built a very strong house. Soon enough, along came the wolf. He knocked on the pig's door and said, little piggy, let me come in." "Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin," said the pig. "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down," said the wolf. So the wolf huffed and he puffed, but he could not blow down the strong brick house. The wolf sat down and wondered how he could get that nice little pig outside the brick house. Then he had an idea. "Little pig," he called, "come with me to the farmer's turnip field. It is quite full of nice turnips. I will come for you at 6 o'clock tomorrow." "Okay," said the little pig. But the clever little pig got up at 5 o'clock and went to the turnip field and gathered all the turnips he could carry. He was back home at 6 when the wolf arrived. The wolf was very angry when he realized he had been tricked, but he did not show it. He had another plan. He thought of another idea to get the pig out of his house. The wolf invited the pig to the fair and said, "We can meet and go together at 3 o'clock sharp." The pig squealed, "Oh, I love fairs. I would love to go." The little pig slipped out early to the fair and had a wonderful time, playing games and eating cotton candy. He even bought a nice new barrel to collect his rainwater. On the way home from the fair, he saw the wolf coming up to meet him. The little pig climbed into his new barrel to hide. The barrel began to roll and rolled right past the wolf. The barrel scared the wolf and he ran all the way home. After a while, the wolf went to tell the pig about the strange barrel that was rolling right towards him. The little pig laughed and said, "It was only a barrel," the little pig told him. "I was inside the barrel." The big bad wolf did not like to be laughed at, and he was tired of the little pig's tricks. He was also very hungry. He wanted to eat the little pig. "Little pig, I am tired of your tricks. The time has come to eat you up." It had been so easy to huff and puff and blow down the straw and stick houses, but he had to figure out what to do to get into this little pig's brick house. The big bad wolf looked up and saw the chimney for the fireplace. And then he jumped up on the roof. and shouted down, Little Piggy, down the chimney I will come to get you and eat you up." The little piggy put a huge pot of boiling water over the fire just in time. The big bad wolf jumped into the chimney and fell all the way down, right into the pot of hot water. And that was the end of the big bad wolf. A long time ago, a woodcutter lived on the edge of a large forest with his 2 children, a girl named Gretel and his son named Hansel, and his wife who was the children's stepmother. They were very poor, despite all the hardcutter's hard work. One year there was a terrible famine, and there was not enough food for the whole family. One night, the stepmother told the woodcutter they must take Hansel and Gretel deep into the forest and leave them there. Hansel overheard them talking. He told Gretel the terrible plan. Then, Hansel had a great idea. He would fill his pockets with white pebbles to leave a path back to the house when this happened. The next morning, the stepmother said they all had to go into the woods to gather firewood. As they walked deeper and deeper into the woods, Hansel dropped his white pebbles to mark the path back to their house. The next day, Hansel and Gretel returned back to the house. Their stepmother was very angry. She told the woodcutter to take them deeper into the woods. This time, Hansel marked their path with breadcrumbs from his pocket so they could find their way home. In the morning, there were no breadcrumbs. The woodland animals had eaten them all. Hansel and Gretel began to walk through the forest, and suddenly, they could not believe their eyes. They found the most amazing house, made of gingerbread, with a roof of icing and windows made of sugar. They were so hungry, they broke off a piece of the house to eat. Then they heard a voice. "Nibble, nibble like a mouse. Who's that nibbling at my house?" The door opened, and an old woman leaning on a cane frightened Hansel and Gretel. The woman then smiled and invited Hansel and Gretel into her house for a delicious dinner of pancakes and apples. After dinner, she said they could stay for the night, and she made up the beds for them, as sweet and kind as any grandmother. The children had no idea the old woman was really a wicked witch. Before Hansel and Gretel awoke the next morning, the wicked witch carried Hansel to a cage she had built and locked him inside. "Now I can fatten you up so I can eat you." The witch made Gretel cook, so Hansel would grow plump. The children cried and begged to be set free, but the wicked witch just laughed at them. Every day the wicked witch, who could not see very well, wanted to feel Hansel's fingers through the bars of the cage, so she could feel how plump he was getting, plump enough to eat. But Hansel cleverly only gave her an old bone to feel. She thought he was always much too thin for her to eat. Weeks went by, and the witch was becoming impatient, as Hansel didn't seem to be growing any fatter. One morning, the witch ordered Gretel to make a fire in the oven. After a while, the witch said to Gretel, "Climb up into the oven to see if the fire is ready." Gretel asked, "But how can I get into the oven to see?" The witch was impatient and climbed up herself to show Gretel how to look at the fire. Quick as a wink, Gretel shoved the old witch into the oven. Then she banged the door shut. Gretel ran over to free Hansel from the cage. They now had nothing to be afraid of. They explored the witch's house and found jewels and gold coins in every corner. Hansel and Gretel filled their pockets with all the riches and gold coins, and they set out to find their way home. They walked for a long time and finally came to the edge of a big lake. "How can we ever cross without a bridge or a boat?" said Hansel. "Here comes a swan," said Gretel. "I will ask her to help us." The beautiful swan agreed to carry them across the lake. Once they were on the other side, they recognized the forest edge, and they began to run down the path towards home. When the woodcutter saw them running towards him, he cried tears of joy for seeing his children. He did not have a moment of peace since he had left them in the forest. His wife had died while they were gone. The children emptied their pockets of all the gold, rubies, and diamonds. The father could not believe his eyes. The woodcutter, Hansel, and Gretel all lived happily ever after, with the help of the witch's gold and treasures. Simba the lion carried a heavy burden for such a young lion, as he thought he was responsible for the death of his father. His meerkat, warthog, and other animal friends wanted to help Simba laugh again. "You must put the past behind you," they all told him. "Hakuna Matata!" "Hakuna Matata means no worries," they told Simba. Soon Simba felt much better as he joined his animal friends. Swimming in the river and enjoying nice long days. As long as Simba did not think about his father's death and the painful memory of his Uncle Scar, telling Simba that he was responsible for his father's death. Scar had told Simba to run away. Simba felt like he was always running away. One day, while playing, a beautiful lioness chased Simba's friend the warthog. She wanted to eat him. The warthog was very scared. Simba saved his warthog friend and then realized the lioness was his old best friend from childhood, Nala. Simba had run away from his Pride Land so long ago. Nala and all the lions and all the other animals missed him very much, and she told them they needed Simba to save them from Scar and the hyenas. They were destroying the Pride Lands. "Please come home," asked Nala. "You are our only hope." Simba was not yet ready to return, and he sat and talked to Nala all night, and they kissed and had a private embrace. "You can't change the past. It's all my fault," said Simba as he walked away from Nala. Close by, a wise baboon called out to Simba. "You're Mufasa's son," he reminded Simba. "He lives in you," said the old baboon, and he reminded Simba of that. The baboon led Simba to a pool of water and told him to stare hard at his reflection. Suddenly, the clouds parted and the water changed shape, and Simba saw his father, Mufasa. "Remember who you are," Mufasa said from the stars. "You are my son and the one true king." Simba was afraid of what he knew he must do. The baboon all of a sudden hit Simba with a stick. "Why did you do that? It hurt," asked Simba. "Doesn't matter. It's in the past," said the baboon as he tried to hit Simba again. Simba ducked, avoiding the hit. "See," said the baboon, "the past can hurt, but you can either learn from it or run away." Simba understood this lesson and decided to return to his father's land, to save it from the hyenas and challenge his Uncle Scar. "I must fight for this, or who will?" "We will," answered Nala, the warthog, baboon, and meerkat. "We are with you until the end." They followed Simba to the Pride Lands and fought a big battle with the hyenas. Simba fought his evil Uncle Scar. Scar admitted, "I killed your father, Mufasa." When Simba heard this, a great anger surged through him. Anger for the death of his father. Anger for years of guilt. Anger for the destruction of his home, the Pride Lands. With a great roar, Simba flipped his uncle over the rock. Scar was defeated. Simba roared and finally claimed his rightful place as king. Nala was waiting for him and told all the animals that Simba was now king of the land. As news of Simba's return spread across the vast land, all of the animals once again roamed free. The land began to heal, and Simba and Nala ruled as king and queen. Simba and Nala started their own family and lived happily ever after.